Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Advanced Wars Daisy Ruin Tiny Wars replay. Spawn on the north side as the purplish pink magenta Gage. We got Nini. Spawn on the south side as a blue Brenner. We got Alomi. When it comes to the COs, Gage is buffed from the cartridge counterpart. Standard boarding cost 2 radius, 30, 60, 60. All units get plus 10, plus 20 defense, usually inverted from other effects. Indirect and naval units get additional plus 20% offense, and CO unit himself get additional 20% offense. Of course, provide all that global, and for superpower also applies 2 max range for the indirect units as well. Gage is of course nerfed from the cartridge counterpart, has standard boarding cost 3 radius, only 1 expansion zone of fully maxed out 60 max energy. All direct units in CO Zone get plus 10% offense, plus 30% defense. And of course for superpower, all units get 3 health recovery. So let's go ahead and get started. This map is a 3 base map, 1 temporary airport, 2 actual airports. Not sure why there's actually 2 airports on this map. It's forward, back, similar spots. Sure, one's forward, but can't really be locked down because airports also are hiding spots. So I'm not so sure. This map also offers 2 temporary airports on the opponent's side of the map, and that does also hide ground or air units, as well as ground units. More infantry, more bikes. Right now, Gage goes for bike infantry. He had 25 or 5,000, then go for bike. Setting up the 1,000 funds for next turn, plus 8,000. You have 9,000 funds, so you could go for a tank next turn. Be a base skip though. Oh, infantry double mech. I was not expecting that. Interesting. Double mech by Gage. Most COs are not really mech users, so this is quite interesting. He probably has a plan. Mechs, of course, can lug all that heavy gear across mountains and rivers without being slowed down. I feel bad for them. That's a lot of heavy gear to carry around like that. Tank, another mech. And an infantry unit there. You maybe want one of the mechs in the center of the map with a decent number of mountains and hiding spots for it. Infantry unit on top of the city there, so he managed to push pretty far forward in the center. This infantry unit, of course, has no spotter, so he will get trapped there. Does go ahead and get stuck there. CO tank there to follow up. Try to get 10 free delicious energies. Gage also has 10,000 income right now. You go for a tank and pair of infantry, artillery, mech, and infantry. Brenner right now has 13,000, so you could go for a medium tank, but it'd be a double base skip. CO's a tank there. Infantry, and artillery as well. Does get energy there, but only 7 energies. Starts flipping that city immediately. He can interrupt it, but he will have no follow-up for that. Just be annoying. It probably is not worth it. The Fountain's Deny would not recover the cost of the 2,500 of the bike. And I mentioned 10 energy donated to Gage's power bar. Pushing pretty far over here, has no counter to this tank of this region. This tank could rotate over here. We know there's a blind spot there, but of course he'll see that advancing. Battlecopter, bike, and commit space cut and tank. He does see that tank there, thanks to the radar station. So probably would be a good idea to send this tank over here. In total has plus 50, minus 10 from the defense stars. Puts itself on top of a wasteland. This command tank has 30, 50, of course on top of roads, so that is true. So right now Gage's tank is a bit more statted, and also does block the bridge there. Haven't been paying attention too much, but got a chain of mechs here into an artillery, anti-air artillery. Anti-air came out a good time, though it's hard to say which way the battlecopter will go. We do have this battlecopter here, so it's probably going to move to engage this battlecopter. He does have two here. Tank infantry and commit space skip. Good shot there, but he did end his turn in range of artillery. That's not great. Battlecopter, tank, double mech. There's a shot there, but that, of course, that battlecopter is in range of a battlecopter as well. This turn next turn's not going to go great for Gage. Brenner will get some great work done. Battlecopter strike, battlecopter, artillery strike, command tank hits bike. Giving him 20 energy so far this turn. Make that 25. Gage at 26. I suppose it is technically possible he can pull out CO power next turn. At least there's enough targets for that. Is he going to do it? No, there's a massive army in front of him. He should probably fall back to these units. The tank may need to fall back to the radio station or even farther. Temporary port up here is not captured just yet, so the battlecopter cannot find safe haven there. Definitely need this battlecopter here. Anti-air being rotated on over here. Pulls back the tank to the behind the HQ rather than top of the HQ. We may bring this battlecopter back to the airport to get repaired on up. We've got a good defense crew of mechs versus a bunch of bikes that are not really pushing forward, so this area is not necessarily a stalemate. Stalemate implies there's a pressure on both sides. Stagnant. Pony War. Scouts up the artillery or the radar station. Brings back his tank all the way down here, 25 energy versus 26. And he is content to capture up his opponent's temporary airport. He has already done the same. Brenner right now has no vision on the side of the map. He only sees one mountain infantry. He's starting to see the mechs push way forward, or a mech and decent amount of infantry. So Gage may be aiming for an HQ cap. He has a good amount of forces here to do that. His tank here is now parked on top of a city. Gage has a possibility to go straight for an HQ cap here. Guess we'll see if he will be successful. Interior bike and battlecopter. Brenner's going to give him out energy. Of course, no +1 CO zone until maxed out. He has a good core of tanks, but there's a good number of battlecopters and mechs here. Mechs, of course, counter everything, but they get countered by everything. Artillery is in range, as well as a tank. Bike goes down, hits the artillery, but only takes 1 point of damage there. Anti-air is a bit of a way. Feels like Brenner's in pretty good position over here. Over here, it's just non-existent. But Gage has a very good forces center. Gage gets +1 CO zone now. Does hit some shots outside of CO zone, so no power charge. Does hit the unit capture the radar station. I wonder if he should have put his push forward tank over here to get some more energy. He could have got enough power charge for a superpower next turn. Oh, sacks that battlecopter, takes out the battlecopter. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Battlecopter finish off battlecopter. Only one battlecopter here. Actually, no, there's two battlecopters nearby. Brenner could pull out a superpower next turn, and his superpower actually is a good one to pull at the end of the turn as well as the beginning. He has superpower available. Right now it's 102. Ivan's going to pop a superpower this turn. Pops it, puts up to 108. Not massive health restoration, but he of course has now plus 3% defense global on all direct units. So battlecopters, yes. Artillery, no. Absolutely not. Infantry, anti-air, and battlecopter. Anti-air's course to be good against battlecopters and do reasonably well enough for artillery. Battlecopter. Bike does fall back, tank as well. Mech hits the tank, Battlecopter's falling back. He does have the temporary airport here. Temporary airports along the sides, but both sides have not been secured. They're handy. Gives your battlecopters a lot more presence. Of course, Brenner starting to crush through Gage up here. Good counterattack in the center. 2 energy at the moment. Gage has a superpower, so all of his indirect units have +2 maximum range, possibly. But they're not really set up in a good position at the moment. Tank, battlecopter, tank, and commit space skip. It's 138 versus 117, so Brenner has a clear advantage at the moment. Is the battlecopter. Good shots there. Does start cleaning up some of the stuff. Looks like Brenner maybe will extend it, but maybe he'll secure 2 properties, 2 flips. 24,000 income versus 20,000 income. So 2 flips would be quite impactful. Nice shot there. Of course, that was a 1 health battlecopter, or 2 health battlecopter, now a 1 health battlecopter. Definitely should eye a temporary airport right there. He did interrupt the capture of that radar station though. Did fully capture up that one. Picked off some tanks there, but if he pushes too far forward, the artillery barrage. Let's see, from this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So with the superpower, both these artillery pieces will be in range. This one will not, and he has more artillery in the back line. I think he's starting to produce more artillery to utilize for the superpower. Anti-air takes out the battlecopter. Does get stuck there. Battlecopter falls back onto the temporary airport. Mech could take time to catch up the temporary airport. They're low priority things, but they're actually very nice to have. Anti-air mech tank. And the mechs have finally advanced to this region, providing quite a bit of pressure in this region, which Brenner doesn't have any counters to it. I mentioned there's plenty of mountains for the mechs to station themselves on. Brenner's has a blitz of tanks heading to the center. His command tanks are on 24 fuel. He's at 35 energy, 41 energy. Does hit one of the artillery in the auxiliary. That's a pretty good number of tanks there. We do have a number of mechs in range. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Nope, this artillery will be out of range with a superpower. And these ones will retain the firepower bonus. It does pop the superpower. Focus down, Brenner's command tank knocks it out, snipes it. And there's actually a lot of territory you can capture up there. Ooh, artillery takes a long shot up there. Fire base, really. There's also some outlying units there. Everything elites gets +10, +20 global. Another mech. Mech, battle coffer, and infantry. CO is another tank that was on top of the HQ, so he's going to get a lot of power charge going. There's a lot of things in range. A lot of things in range. Already up to 43 energy. Battle coffers here in good numbers. Gage may need a missile or a duster at this rate. It's another artillery piece there. Battlecopter, tank, bike. Does get a good round in the battlecopter, but survives. 19 energy. Infantry in the corner. Does get some good hits there. Hits the anti-air up to 24 energy. This mech should just take a shot off. Fix up 1 health there. Maybe he could have used the battlecopter to strike a full health battlecopter. But maybe he really wanted that mech there. So it was only a bit of a roadblock. Burns up to 58 energy. He could apply a superpower this turn. He can deploy a superpower this turn. Maybe get some stuff wounded before doing that. Number of stuff on the field is quite wounded. He's at 121. That's 128. Do have a Duster that got deployed on the field last turn. Brenner's trying to smash his way to the center of the map, but Gage has quite a bit of stuff over here as well, causing a decent amount of issues. Battlecopter, tank, bike, and bike. Dust is going to have some good work. Just have to be careful about the couple anti-airs. Does strike the anti-air for 2 points of damage. Is that battlecopter there? His tank here is quite wounded though. So his tank is probably going to go down next turn. Hits the anti-air. Battlecopter strikes the regular tank. Tank hits anti-air, which is very important. Thought the artillery would strike the... yeah, he does need to stop the HQ capture. Capture's like, yeah, probably should stop that. Goes for a full bomber. And with all the anti-airs basically down, the bomber's going to get some good work done. Does hit the Duster, but that was a pretty weak anti-air. He still has a full health anti-air on his HQ. Gage's tank does go down, but he does get additional firepower for her CO units, so this bomber could be dropping not necessarily nuclear warheads, but some cluster munitions. Let's go with that. That's a scary word that people don't like to hear in warfare. Another Duster. HQ capture progress has 4 remaining. Duster should be able to knock it down by 3 health. Of course, has to deal with less defense now. Bombs away. Takes out a max veteran tank. Infantry hits the bike. Hits the tank there. Duster finish off the bike. Max gets some great strikes there on that healthy anti-air. Battlecopter. Brenner's tank's pushing over here, gaining some energy at 52 energy, so very close to no superpower. Technically, he has enough power charge in front of him to get the superpower, just nothing to obtain it. Looks like Gage managed to capture this city as well. Brenner still has both of these cities up here. 121,000 versus 89, so Gage is pretty far behind. Of course, Brenner still has to spend his stuff. He's at 140 effectively versus 89. Bomber does finish off the wounded anti-air. It's the artillery. Duster hits the battlecopter and manages to park itself on top of a temporary airport. We do have another Duster on the field by Gage, or by Brenner. Of course, his Gage is on the temporary airport, and which does provide 10% defense to not air units. That says naval. Capturing both of these cities again. Duster will not take a shot against the Duster. Does get trapped there, and a mech nearby can easily pick it off. Right now, Gage does have the income advantage, 24,000 versus 20,000. The missile. The missile has been deployed in the field. The missile knows where it's at for know where it's not. CO unit ends its turn on top of the temporary airport. We got the rockets. And mech. Copter is actually getting low on fuel, 25 fuel. He is catching up the temporary airport now. Brenner is starting to pull back. He's about one turn ahead of economy, or funds on the field, I should say. ATR does strike the anti-air. Mech, our battlecopter and infantry. Gage has been going for a very healthy number of mechs this entire game, and he's been doing quite well with them. Bike. You have now Gage bomber here, or not, Brenner bomber. He sells us for 30,000, so he could goes for dust on the back line as well. So double duster ready for a dust off, which that's actually meant for medics, right? Or transports. Battlecopter. Mech, or mech infantry. Does take out the bike there, hits the mech again. Brenner does have his superpower available. His tank is down to 27 fuel. The thing as well, that missile could snipe the bomber if he gets the superpower. Because if he, right now he needs a little bit more energy. He can get the energy this turn. I don't think he'll pop a superpower though. He's probably not aware of the bomber just yet. There's some energy there, up to 42 energy at the moment. Duster goes for a scout run. Dusters do have decent vision on them. And his bomber charges forward. That's quite bold. There's two Dusters in the field. I don't see any anti-airs in range, do I? No, just double Duster. How much does Duster do to a CO bomber? Okay, so Gage's CO bomber will live. Brenner deploys himself into a battlecopter. Of course, his power charge got reset. He has not seen the missile yet. He has seen the missile. The bomber enters range of the missile. He can't escape. There is a path for him to escape. He's only surrounded from this side. So pull back the bomber, pop the CO power, and start unleashing the artillery barrage. We got a chain of mechs over here. He has a massive presence on the left side. He could use a bit more for presence on the left side. On the other left side, I mean, it's doing quite well. It's for 167 versus 150. I have a feeling it's going to be superpower. Capture some properties. Actually, the missile's in range of the bomber, so maybe he doesn't need the superpower. Yeah, he probably actually doesn't need the superpower that's deployed this turn. He doesn't necessarily need increased range effect. It will help. Nope, the rocket can still at least range a bike. So it looks like the missile shot down a battlecopter, I believe. I see both Dusters and the bomber still alive. Not sure why he didn't blow the bomber out of the sky with the missile. Goes back to his bomber. With 2 Dusters nearby, it is somewhat threatening to go down. Brenner has enough power charge for his superpower now. Tank battlecopter anti-air. It's the bike down there. Gonna be trying to secure more of the properties. He has enough mechs nearby to pose a threat to that tank. Good number of hits there. Bomber rotates around just so his indirects get more firepower. Loses the mech there. Tracks the tank. Takes out the tank there. His battlecopter is currently at 8% health. Missile mech infantry. The bomber does fall back to the temporary airport. Tank anti-air. Missile will need a superpower to range one of the Dusters. This one's, of course, out of range. Pops the superpower. Does hit Duster there with the missile. Rocket is in range of the tank and anti-air. Just needs spotting both of them. Doesn't take out battlecopter. Infantry hits the bike. Hits the bike again. Hits the bike for a 3rd time. The rocket strikes the anti-air. Anti-air strikes the anti-air. Battlecopter, infantry, mech, and artillery. Does get trapped there. Bomber does fall back to the temporary airport. Brenner has a good number of tanks on the field, but he's fighting against a large number of mechs right now. Duster does get back to airport. Artillery, anti-tank, and mech. And that Duster does get trapped on 3 health mech. Anti-air bike. The missiles rotating around. Another bike and battlecopter. Mech has some good strikes there on that tank. That's a lot of mechs. They seem to point out more mechs than infantry this game. It looks like there's more mechs than infantry alive at the moment. Battlecopter, mech, and bike. We have now a rocket. Bike, rocket. Is the bike twice down south? Flare? First flare of the game. Thought we'll see one sooner. But both flares didn't really need a flare. Probably trying to spot over here. Battlecopter, mech, and flare. Does spot the infantry unit there with an infantry unit on top of a mountainside. And of course can get first strike then, get healed up by his superpower. Does get a shot there, can be afforded to heal with his superpower. Another rocket. Bike and infantry. Right now, Brenner has 172,000 versus 228, so Gage does have quite a bit of advantage right now. About 2 turns. Trying to capture the properties over here. Brenner's lost everything. Gage is also 23,000 versus 21. Tank, battlecopter, infantry, and mech. Again. It's the infantry unit over here. Good shots. Somebody just noticed, well, 26 units versus 51. That's quite a difference of units. Probably because all the mechs. Brenner did do quite a number of base skips so far this game. Gage, I don't think it's done it once. Anti-air, bike, and tank. Almost lost the anti-air. Did play Ring Around the Rosie with it, and the missile does clear out the airport. Which was a max veterancy duster. Gage right now is at 19 energy, so pretty far away from superpower, but not really. Once the fight starts going, it will be generating a lot of power charge. Brenner has his own superpower. Does get trapped there, hits the infantry unit there. However, the missile's in range. Bike, battlecopter, and bike. Missile takes out bomber. Massive loss there by Brenner. We would expect a missile on the flank. We have another rocket, bike, and mech up north. Brenner's turn. He's at 160,000. Save dates effectively 180 versus 270. So he's basically 100,000 value behind. Of course, he does have superpower. But there's a good wall of mechs there. Anti-air destructive bike does finish off there. Delta does fall back to the airport. Bomber advancing, takes out one of the rockets, and that's of course CO Bomber. In total, it gets plus 50% firepower. Gonna capture the HQ. Possibly can grab it, or it's gonna be some pretty good bait. The bomber, the CO Bomber here, will likely go down. Got a missile range and 2 anti-airs. Of course, if Brenner were to charge forward, he's going to run straight into a wall of mechs, a human mechapede, if you will. Not to mention the artillery behind it. That was a good trap there. Austin superpower for a bit of health recovery, bring up to 164. Brenner did not stop the capture of the HQ, just interrupted. So it can easily be a joint capture. Artillery strikes the anti-air, and there again. Bomber is still alive, so he actually still has a CO Bomber, just trapped it so it didn't escape. So can join capture on the mech there with this mech here. Try to keep the right flank. Good number of mech hits there. Decides to fully stop the capture and do a joint capture. Probably been better just do a joint capture. Mech, battlecopter, mech, and tank. It's 8 here, and Brenner does go to resign there. His anger saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay.